What does she do that we as young Black people need to do to actually get more involved here in South Florida?
Well, that's just it. I mean, first off, is she was active. She was not a passive member of her community at any point. She understood, particularly back then in segregation days, that things were not easy for Black folk, and that people were not giving Black folks anything, anything that Blacks wanted. They had to work hard for, and so that was the environment in which she grew up, and so she worked hard her entire life. She worked at jobs like
picking up trash from the trains during World War II.
She used to clean the railroad cars for Florida East Coast Railroad. She used to work on Miami Beach, where you used to have to have an identification card to be able to work over there. She worked as a porter in one of the or several of the hotel bathrooms. So she was a bathroom porter for a number of years, and so she did whatever she needed to do or felt that she needed to do in order to sustain her family. And it didn't matter what it was. And so that was the first thing, is that she was active, and she understood the importance of hard work, not only to sustain her family, but also to advance her family and advance her community. And so that's how she became involved in things like the PTA, and became involved in community organizations, because she understood that without the strength of these organizations, the community could not progress. And that's what she was about. And that's what we have to get back to, is understanding that, if we want to progress, nobody's going to give us anything. We've gone through the era of welfare and social programs and those sorts of things, which are meant to help, but are not meant to be a lifelong crutch. And so, we have to understand those things and understand that, we are not meant to just be supported by the government, or we are not meant to be ignorant to what's going on in our community. We as a people, even dating back to the days of Africa, have always lived as a village. When we were here in segregation days, we lived as a village. You had Overtown, which had every profession that you could ever want: doctors, lawyers, shoe cobblers, anything you could think of were there. And so, with the advent of things like I-95 and so forth, our community has continued to be divided, continued to be separated. And we have to recognize those things. First of all, we got to understand our history and where we came from here in Miami, in order to understand some of the things that are happening to us now. And certainly if my grandmother was here, she would be encouraging folks to be active politically and to be active in the community. So that means knowing what's going on, on a daily and weekly basis in the community, knowing what's going on politically, being registered to vote, and actually going out and voting and encouraging others to vote. And that's what it's going to take, for us to be recognized as equals here, for us to be given the proper respect that we deserve, that our ancestors worked so hard for. And so that's what we have to get back to. But that's what she was about. She was about advancing the community, being astute politically, and helping others to become astute politically. So people would come to her and ask her about the upcoming election. And, well, Mrs. Range, who do you think we should vote for? Here, who is best going to benefit our community? And folks trusted her because of her time in politics here and how she regarded the community. The community was always at the top of her priority list. And anything that she did was going to be of benefit to the community. And so folks would come to her after her time in office and say, well, who's going to benefit our community most? Who should we vote for? And she was very happy to endorse candidates, so candidates would actually come to her and ask for her endorsement. But she would make sure that she knew what their agenda was, and that they knew what her expectations were of them before she would ever give an endorsement. And so if they didn't have an agenda that she thought was appropriate, she would help them set their agenda, if they expected to get her endorsement. And she would ensure that they would follow up, or that she would make her voice heard, that, these persons were not, not doing what they should be doing for the community, and she would take care of that.
That's awesome. I'm at a point because with this whole Virginia Key Beach thing, with other things that are going on, I'm past like titles. And when I read about her and I think about her like with this, I think about the fact that she just got her hands dirty. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not about the title. It's not about. It's just do it.
Yes.
It's not about making this video and saying, okay, look at me. I mean, it's like literally go out, join an organization, go out. Like, what can you do to contribute? Tell your friends. Like, literally, this is serious. It's really, really serious to get involved.
Yes.
Socially.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the difference then is that because we were a close knit community, most folks knew everyone knew everyone, sort of thing. And so it was easier to get the message out. It was easier to corral folks. It was easier to know the places to go to, get the message across. And, now because we are more spread out,
social media,
we don't have the same influences, that were there. And we have greater influences on us now that are not necessarily positive.
Exactly.
And so, we have fallen away from the active nature of our community and being active in our community. And that's what we've got to get back to. We don't vote anymore. Certainly the young folks don't vote. And that was something that, we had to fight for as a people. And I think there's not an understanding of how much, went into us obtaining the right to vote. Not only that, we certainly don't seem to understand the power that we have if we vote. We can change a lot of what's going on if we just come together and understand not only the political power that we possess, but also the economic power that we possess.
I think a lot of people, the thing we're talking now, but I feel like a lot of people won't even realize what's really going on until, God forgive me for saying this, until George Floyd happens again.
It's unfortunate, and, unfortunately, George Floyds are happening every day. We just don't hear about them. And not only that, but obviously, more than that, we're doing it to ourselves. You hear of the black on black crime, and that's obviously very real.
Yeah.
And that's something that we have to reckon with ourselves as a community. And we're not doing that.